Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here, back with another guide for Final Fantasy XVI. This time I'm going to show you how to take down the Akashic Dragon boss in the Inner Sanctum. This boss is not necessarily a multi-phase boss fight, it only has the one health bar. However, it does get new moves as it gets lower in health, so if you want to consider that multi-phase, you can. Its main physical attacks mostly deal with its wings, so when you see it sort of push a wing or slam a wing into the ground, it's then going to rotate and try to clip you with that wing. It will typically follow that up with a sort of like a head slam move where it just sort of whips its own head around. That one is a little tough to navigate only because the camera tends to stick you pretty close to the boss, especially if you're like attacking its chest. And so you just got to be on the lookout for it. If the boss sort of moves its head in one direction and keeps it there for a second, chances are that head attack is coming. Once the boss gets down to 50% will, you want to use Deadly Embrace to bring it down and get a partial stagger on the boss. After it reaches 50% will, it will start doing this beam attack, and a little later on I'm going to sort of test the limits of that beam attack and see exactly where the hitbox is. The hitbox on the beam explosion is quite wide. It is not just the white hot mark, the white hot like vertical mark on the ground. It's actually the whole explosion has a bit of a hitbox, so you'll see that a little bit later, but just be very careful when dealing with that attack. Whenever the boss rears its head up, you can use a Phoenix Shift to get all the way up there, and you can combo that with, some aerial damage if you like, but it's also just really useful to get up there to avoid the fireball attacks, and then stay up there as long as possible. Once you stagger the boss, you want to unleash everything you have on it. Don't hold back here. You can use your limit break early on in this fight. You will likely have enough time to build it up completely again. I didn't realize how long this fight was going to go on, so I just sort of kept it to the end, but feel free to unleash it on your first stagger. You should have plenty of time to build it back up all the way again. So after your first stagger, the boss is going to fly off, and then he's going to go to the other side of the bridge and then use Cauterize. Cauterize is a big, sweeping flame attack, so what you need to do is you need to get behind the dragon. So you just got to sort of estimate your positioning, and then pick a side, and then run behind the boss, and then it will land, and then you can continue the fight. So as you can see there, I used Phoenix Shift to try to get up into the sky near its head to avoid the fireballs. Unfortunately, I was too far away and just ended up getting slammed directly by a fireball. Right there, I did not switch to Garuda for my active dodge. I messed that up, just took a fat piece of damage, but luckily I got healed by Torgal, and I believe Jill healed me there, which was nice. So from here on out, the fight, it's not exactly the same, but he does a lot of the same moves. You saw there, that was the head slam. I always have a difficult time dodging that. And then this is the beam attack. I'm going to just sort of test the limits of this hitbox, and you can see there I wasn't standing on the vertical mark, but I did still take damage, so you want to get all the way out of that explosion. This way you don't take any damage, but, feel free to use my test for science. So here I tried to get some aerial damage, but, sort of missed most of my attacks, but that's okay. Just trying to test the limits of the aerial combat. So the boss turns back around, starts doing a head whip. Luckily, I'm able to dodge that one, and even though that probably wasn't even going to hit me because I was so far to the other side, the dodge still counted, so I was able to get a lot of will damage onto the boss, and then, of course, do a deadly takedown with Deadly Embrace, and then start unleashing some fury. Ignition is a really good ability here, and if you're like me, you tend to want to always steer Clive while using Ignition. If you just use it without touching the stick, he will just always go straight, so feel free to just hit it as any other ability and don't bother using the stick, but of course, if you're using it in the air, you will need to steer him. So Dragon Dance is a bit of a wing buffet where the boss pushes you away and then it will fly off, and then it starts unleashing these fireballs. You can just run from these. I sort of got stuck in a dodge loop, so I just kept dodging. I didn't want to mess it up and take one to the face. After a horizontal beam and a vertical beam, the boss will fly into you, and then it will sort of collapse in exhaustion. At this point, I'm not exemplifying this, but you want to get in front of its face. You typically deal more damage to the dragon's face than you do its wings, but I was just trying to deal as much damage as I could. So on this full stagger here, I'm unleashing everything I have, and I'm also going to pop my limit break, and then this is when you want to make sure you're spamming Torgal, just have him sick the boss over and over. I'm going to accidentally use a potion because I thought I was in Torgal's menu, but you see here I'm just mashing sick, I'm mashing ignition, I'm mashing everything I have just to deal as much damage as I can, and I get a little over 21,000 damage during that takedown. So from here, the boss is going to fly up one more time and use Cauterize again. This time he's going to do it where you're horizontal on the bridge rather than vertical. Same exact deal. You just have less time to react to it because this section of the bridge is shorter. But just get behind the sweeping fire and you're good to go. And then you can actually dodge these fireballs in the air, which I was kind of happy to do. And then just go ahead, get back into the boss, and just rinse and repeat as you have been the whole time. There's no new attacks at this point. You just take the boss down, and the fight is over. You do want to watch out for this tail swipe attack. It can be quite deadly, and now he's going to follow it up with fireballs or a laser, so you do want to be careful of that. But other than that, there's really nothing new. You just sort of change some attacks together, but you've seen it all at this point. For this head sweep attack, you can just sort of mash the dodge in the air, and you will get it. Unfortunately, Sid got the killing blow, which I always hate when I don't get the killing blow, but that's okay. For your troubles, you get 90 experience, 120 AP, 3,000 gil, 10 bloody hide, 2 meteorite, and 1 black blood. And that's it. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to help you out. If you're looking for more guides for Final Fantasy XVI, please subscribe to the channel so you get alerted when new guides go live. If you're interested in supporting the channel monetarily, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join button below this video. You can also leave a super thanks by clicking the heart icon below this video. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and join my Discord. The links for those are in the description below. As always, I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.